I'm going to be reading Booktubers' favorite books of 2025. A prompt jar, well, actually, it's a basket, is going to be picking what I read. So I went through over 100 Booktubers favorites videos, and any book I was interested in, I put it on my spreadsheet. I've made a whole spreadsheet. It's very intense. I am dedicated. So I went through and printed off every single book I wanted to read. So I did do this so that if a book is mentioned multiple times, it is in here multiple times. So the more popular picks have a higher chance of getting pulled from here. And I am just going to read as many as I get to in this video. So these are a lot of my options. I have at least 50 books that I could get to, but over 200 slips of paper in here. We are going to pull a book out of here as we go. So most of the books that I was interested in fit in the horror, thriller, romance, or romantasy category, but we also have some sci-fi, some general fantasy, and I'm so excited to read every single one of these books. Okay, this needs to be quick because there are a lot of noisy things happening right now. Okay. Which one of these? This one. Sorry, my head is cut off. I will be... Hello? Why can't I open this? Reading. Oh, this is fun. Problematic Summer Romance by Allie Hazelwood because of Eden Yonos. The fun thing is that I'm gonna go see Allie Hazelwood tonight. I am going to a local event with her. I actually got this signed at one recently, which is so fun. So I'm excited. I am back from the book event with Allie Rawson and Allie Hazelwood. It was a lot of fun, very chaotic. There was a lot of stuff behind the scenes with the event. So it was moved, there were delays, whole thing. But I really enjoyed the event itself. Here is a picture of me with both Allies. I also had a conversation with Allie Hazelwood about this shirt. So here's that. Hilarious. So funny. I have made it 100 pages into Problematic Summer Romance, which is the like sequel-ish to Not in Love. And this one is following the sister of the male main character in Not in Love and the brother's best friend. It's also an age gap romance. I gave Not in Love 4 stars, so I did enjoy it. It's not my favorite from her, but I wasn't bothered by like the tone shift in a lot of her previous books to that one. And this one is feeling obviously more in line with Not in Love, which is fine for me. So this is set in Italy, which is hilarious because Allie Hazelwood spent so much of the event that I was just at talking badly about Italy, where she is from, because the other book at the event was set in Italy. So I just found that hilarious. So in this we are following Maya Kilgore, and she is 23 and she is kind of struggling with what she wants to do. She has different job offers, so she's not like down on her luck in that kind of way. She just doesn't really know what is the best fit for her life, what she should do moving forward. And she is pretty much avoiding everybody that she knows. Her brother is about to get married to, that's upside down, but like the couple in here is getting married and they decided to do a destination wedding in Italy. She does everything she can to shorten her trip because there's like really weird feelings about things. There's not specifically issues that have happened, but just specific things have happened that makes her feel kind of uncomfortable, unwelcomed. So she delays her trip. She tries to put things off because of different reasons. So there's a little prologue, and then we are starting 7 days before the wedding, and she is just getting to the wedding. So their parents died very unexpectedly when she was younger. Her brother's a decent amount older than her, and he ended up taking care of her, and she was 13 and I think he was in his early 20s, at least 18. So she was able to live with him, but obviously there's a lot of very tough feelings between them because of that. Like, he had to give up a lot to take care of her, and he doesn't regret it, but also there's just complicated emotions that come with that. And then on her side too, she feels like she took all this stuff from him. There's also a lot of assumptions because of that. They don't really talk about things, but it's easy to assume that you are a burden in this kind of situation, things like that. So in the present, we know that there is this whole thing with Connor. And Connor is her brother Eli's best friend, and he is older. They own this company together that we learn a lot about in Not in Love. We know now that they used to be really close, Maya and Connor, who also goes by Hark to everybody. If you read the first one, that's who the character is. We know that something happened between them. We don't know the specifics of it, but we're slowly learning that. And then we are also getting to watch them 3 years ago when they connected as she was an adult. When she was a teenager, like early teens, Connor like literally paid no attention to her. He had zero thoughts about her. Like they didn't really interact. It was just kind of like they knew of each other's existence, but that's kind of all the further it went. And then when she's 20 and in college, she has this event happen. She tries to contact her brother and ends up talking to him, and then they form this friendship, this relationship kind of thing because of that. So we are seeing the beginnings of that and then seeing the stuff that's happening at the wedding. Obviously they have to try to get along because they're both very important to Eli, and there's just a lot of like specific dynamics that are going on in this. So far I am enjoying it. I love Ali Hazelwood's writing. I like the way that she writes characters. I don't think that the plot is anything that is very exciting, which I am reading romance more for the banter, the character relationships, things like that. But I love wedding books, so I'm like, but give me a little more of that. So that's my own fault, but we are 1 day in and I'm 26% into the audiobook. The moments we're getting with them, I really like their banter, so I'm hoping we get more of that soon. I have made it to 3 days before the wedding now, which is like 245-ish pages. There's a lot of pages that don't have the numbers on it, and math feels like a lot of work right now, even if it's a couple numbers. I am not loving this like I wanted to. I think that I've given all of Ali Hazelwood books except for Bride at least 4 stars, other than her STEMinist novellas, which like I just pretend those don't exist. And I did give Bride 3.5 stars anyway, so I still liked it, but I think this one might be my least favorite, and that is quite unfortunate for me. I just don't care about anything that's happening. There is this like almost second chance kind of thing happening in here. So we are seeing them get to know each other in the past, and then in the present knowing that something happened between them, they don't really talk anymore, and kind of watching them reconnect a little bit. And I can see how that would work for a lot of people, but I just don't care about any of them at all. They do have some moments of banter that I am enjoying. Like, I am liking this. It's feeling like a 3-star book probably, but I am not feeling the chemistry between these two. So this is also age gap. I think I mentioned that earlier, but he is like 18 years older than her. So it's just that's constantly being brought up, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. And I understand that he has like mixed feelings about it because he knew her when she was an actual child, but they like barely interacted. And I know he has a lot of like things going on with his family life and his past that he is working through. So it's not, I don't know. I'm like kind of annoyed at watching them in the past, and we are at the point where they're interacting more, but the whole thing, I'm like, what are we doing here? I also wish that I cared more about what was going on with the plot. Like, there's this whole wedding thing happening, but I feel like that's not as involved as I wanted it to be. I'm liking the writing. I always like Ellie Hazelwood's writing, and that is what is keeping me reading, honestly. I think if this wasn't Ellie Hazelwood, I might have DNF'd it, which, like, whatever. I probably should DNF this then, just because I just don't care. And a romance can be fine. I want to be obsessed with the romance. I want to be screaming to you about how cute they are, and well, not always how cute they are, but just like how watching them together like makes me feel as a reader. And I just feel nothing, even though there are enjoyable moments. So I don't know. I feel bad not liking anything in this video. Like, if I don't like anything, I'm gonna feel bad because obviously this is somebody's favorite. But I also feel bad because I thought that I was gonna like this more, and I tend to like Ali Hazelwood books more, so it's a bit upsetting. Oh, also, she's 23 and he's 38, so once again, not doing math, but there you go. I have finished Problematic Summer Romance. I stayed up until like 2 in the morning finishing it last night, honestly, because I just wanted to get the book done. I am going to give it 3 stars. For me and my personal taste, there wasn't enough actual romance. My favorite thing about romance is really seeing them get to know each other, get to form this connection, and kind of feel what they are feeling. And because they have had all of these things going on, I just like didn't find myself caring that much. There were some moments that I liked. I enjoyed them together in theory, but even though I feel like we watched them the whole time, I feel like I didn't get enough of their relationship in the book. So I'm gonna give this one 3 stars. So that does make this my least favorite Ali Hazelwood, but I'm not mad about it at all. So we are going to pick my next book. Okay, I just threw pieces of paper everywhere. I am hoping for, I kind of think a thriller, honestly, but I mostly just don't want to read something that's exactly the same. So we are going to go with, oh, this is a good one. People are going to be excited. And by people, I mean the couple people that have been begging me to read this for months and months and months so that I finally can do the buddy read of the next book with them. So we have Storm of Secrets and Sorrow from Tori from Novel Life. This is the sequel to Reign of Shadows and Endings, so I am excited to finally be getting to this one. I've made it pretty far into Storm of Secrets and Sorrow. I feel like I can never remember what this book is called. I'm 45% in. I saw that there was a part 2 and I was like, yeah, I'll just get to that. And it just kept going and going and going, and now I am like 300 something pages into the book. It's fine. This is absolutely a setup book for book 3. If this was the first book in any series, I would have DNF'd, but because there's already like an established situation, relationship, I know what's going on, I am enjoying it. Not as much as the first one. So this is book 2 in the Legacy Quartet. I think there are 4 officially, by Melissa K. Rorick. So this is a dark romantasy series. In the first book, we are following Tessa Lynn, and we continue to follow her, but she is a fae, and there's this thing where all the like legacy, which is the more powerful people, the people in charge, get to have like a source bond, and there's this whole thing where there are different like kingdoms and they all pick sources. I am really bad at explaining things like this, but Tessa Lynn goes and she is expecting someone else to do it because a lot of people really want to be a source because they feel like it's just, I mean, they've probably been brainwashed to like want to do this because these sources have to give up everything. They have to give up their life, their power, like they don't even take clothes with them. There's no like sense of self that this person really can hold on to. So she ends up getting picked. There's this scene that they start off with where she's like eating chocolate in a cupboard and he comes in and they have this interaction and she doesn't know that he's the legacy, and then he does end up picking her and it's kind of unplanned. So she is dealing with this abrupt change in her life. She now has to do whatever this guy wants. It's a very awful power dynamic. So that is not something that you're like specifically reading for, but then there are these moments where you're like, okay, I like this. So it's a very interesting thing to read. I like seeing them all working through these different dynamics because the characters are really like trying to do what they think is the right thing. So the legacy that took the source, Tessa Lynn, is Theon. So there's Theon, and we're also with his brother and someone that is like helping him with a lot of things, Luca, and they have a close relationship because of like tons of things that have happened in the past. So I love the group dynamic of all of this and seeing all of their little interactions within this group and seeing them all like together. There's also some interesting stuff within the world itself, but I don't want to tell you too much because I'm scared that I'm accidentally gonna not remember what's like information versus things you learn later in the first one and spoil things. But there are fae, there's different kinds of magic, there is a whole thing with the fae like coming to with their powers, so there's different kinds of power and they have to go through this like training thing to reveal their power. Obviously Tessa Lynn has more to her than meets the eye. I feel like that's kind of standard in fae romantasy books. Like the main character starts off thinking she's human, turns out she's fae, or there's like something more to the main female character. I feel like that is just so standard. So book 2 continues book 1, where we learn a lot of information. We learn a lot of things about Tessa. We are seeing things happening in this world, secrets being kept, things being revealed, and I just have a lot of fun with it. So this one I do think is good, but not as good as the first one. I think it's a little bit repetitive for me. There are some moments that I desperately want more information, and I'm excited to learn that, which we are going to, at least in the next 2 books, but there are a lot of things that are being hinted at right now that I do really want the answers to. So yeah, I do like the character dynamics. I just think it's an interesting exploration of this whole thing. They're also bonded by this source, so there's a lot of things that come up because of that. So yeah, this is a darker book. I wouldn't just like broadly recommend it to anyone that's looking for like a silly fun time, but also it's just so good. So I gave the first book 4.5 stars, but it did end up in my top 20 of the year. I had a couple 4.5 stars that made it because I didn't have 25 stars. I think that this one is not going to get 4.5 stars, but I'm still really enjoying being back in this world. I'm about to leave my house, so I wanted to pick another book because I might finish Storm of Secrets and Sorrow, but I might not. I have probably close to, I don't know, 4 hours depending on traffic in the car, but I wanted to pick my next one so that I had the audiobook ready to go. So, sorry I'm out of breath because I literally ran up the stairs. Oh, I'm going to the Dancing with the Stars tour tonight. I won't be able to really like show you any of the actual Dancing with the Stars stuff because I'm assuming there's going to be copyright stuff, but sorry, I'm still so out of breath. I am excited for... Oh, okay. So after I finish Storm of Secrets and Sorrow, I will, please focus, be starting Dungeon Crawler Carl because of Sam from Samantha Donovan. This was in this gigantic bucket a million times, so I'm not surprised that it was picked in the video, which I think it's been good because we've had a mix of something that was really popular, some things that maybe weren't quite as popular. Storm of Secrets and Sorrow wasn't on many people's lists, but the 3rd book was, so I'm really excited that I got to the 2nd one. And Problematic Summer Romance was, what, in the middle? I can't remember. I have a far drive and there's gonna be traffic, of course, but I'm truly so excited to go to the show. I am somebody that gets very obsessed with things, so this past season was my first time fully watching an entire season of Dancing with the Stars. I think we watched some of it growing up, but there were a lot of people on it that I was interested in watching, and then I just like immediately was like into all the lore and watching the specific pros dance, and a lot of my favorites are on the tour, specifically Daniela and Ezra, so that'll be fun. I'm going with my mom and Monica, who is here on YouTube. So Monica and I actually went to high school together, so she's known my mom for a very long time, so it's not like that weird. So Dancing with the Stars tour was so fun. It actually happened a couple nights ago. I've had a lot of book events happening recently. The Allie Hazelwood one was a week ago, and then I went to a YA horror one earlier this week, Dancing with the Stars, and then a YA dark fantasy romantasy book, and I've just been so tired. I'm really struggling to focus on anything, to read a lot, but I did want to check in on Storm of Secrets and Sorrow. I have made it 77% in, so I think I'm just under 500 pages, and I am definitely really liking this. I still think I'm liking it less than the first one, but there's some really interesting additions to this book, and the things that we are starting to learn about this world and what different things could be is so intriguing to me. So our main character, Tessa, she obviously is learning more about herself, and that is coming with exploration of the world as a whole, and it's just setting up a lot of different things. I think the stuff that is going to come after this is going to be incredible, but I'm not as obsessed with everything that's happening right now because it's really just like putting like a little sprinkle of something in your mind so that you are thinking about it, and the characters are figuring things out too. So I am liking watching them kind of doing these different things to put the pieces together. They have all been told specific things throughout their life so that where they live can be run the way that it is, so that power can be given to people that want it and taken from people that could take power from the others. There are so many themes of control in here, who gets to make decisions for who and what that means for different people. The whole thing with this source bond is so that the Fae can be controlled by the legacy. I'm so scared I'm gonna accidentally spoil something from any of this because I don't remember when things were revealed. You would think that like the legacy is explained in the first book, right? But I don't want to tell you that because like it makes sense for that to be the case, and then I was like, oh, actually that was in the second book. So I am struggling a little bit with that because I read the first one so long ago, but the power dynamics in here and the way that that can be presented in different relationships I think is so interesting, and I do really like these characters and seeing how all of them are fitting together and the specifics of that. And I'm also really intrigued by what is starting to be revealed more about this world as well. I don't normally have a green background behind me, but I just filmed something for a fun collab video that I just felt like green was the vibe, and this matches Storm of Secrets and Sorrows, so I am just gonna leave it there because it's a vibe. Also, I have Winston here. I don't quite know how to feel about this book, so I do think that it was really similar in a lot of ways to Reign of Shadows and Endings, but I think that it was a little too repetitive because like why do we need some of that? I also think that this book kind of gave me whiplash at the end. For me, not much was happening until the end. There were moments that were of like higher intrigue for me, but overall it just felt like a lot of repetition from the first book. Like I kind of felt like I was reading the first book again. But then since I talked to you last, things were happening constantly. It was this person doing this thing and this person doing this thing and this big reveal. And there was a lot of stuff that I really, really liked. I'm so intrigued to see what is going to come of very specific things. My other complaint is that I feel like we didn't get as much of the character dynamics in this one that I loved from the first one. So we were still getting those things in like certain ways that felt similar to the first one, but then there were moments that were just like so fun and cute and I loved seeing in the first one that I feel like we didn't really get in this one. And there's been a lot of reveals, things that they've learned that are obviously impacting their relationship and everything, and I get it, like I absolutely do, but there's just like a little bit of stuff that I felt like I was missing in this one. We did get another character's POV that I forgot we didn't get in the first one, and I really, really like that one, and I'm curious what's in store for the third one because I do think the third book is overall most people's favorite in the quartet. Also, there were a lot of people that showed up that I guess are in the Lady of Darkness series, which I have not read. It's one that I'm somewhat interested in reading, but I just don't know if or when I'm ever going to pick it up. So my rating for this one I think is just barely 4 stars. I think that if this wasn't a 4-star book, I don't think I would have made it through 650 pages of it, honestly. I am not someone that is typically like a very long book reader. If I'm bored, I'm like, well, there's still like 3 books left in this time, so I could just DNF and read something else. And I think this year I'm feeling very quick to DNFing. It did take me a while to read this book, but that's just because my brain doesn't want to read, not because of the book. Like, when I would start reading, I would read for a while and enjoy my time, but starting to read, sitting down, the act of continuing to read was just a struggle for me. I have decided to start crocheting a cardigan. I have been crocheting since I was probably 17. So, oh god, I guess it's been 13 years. That's weird. Anyway, so I haven't made anything that is like wearable like this, and Jordan from Sorry Book Solid is very into crocheting now, and I have felt inspired to finally make something that I can actually wear, because I feel like I've just made a bunch of random things. So I have started the audiobook for Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I am now pretty far in. I just made it to chapter 20, which is 148 pages in, and while I've been listening to the audiobook, I have started my project. So I also for this had to like re-ball, I don't know terms, the yarn that I bought, because it was like really big and I'm just getting stuck a lot. But this is the back panel, and it's like the bottom with this ribbing, and then it'll work its way up. I made it so that it's oversized. Hopefully, I don't really know what I'm doing because I've never made anything that is wearable. Really doing this specifically has kept my attention, and I've gotten through a decent amount of the book. So Dungeon Crawler Carl, if you don't know what it is this video game book. This guy named Carl at the very beginning is in his apartment that he is not going to be in much longer because his girlfriend has just broken up with him while she was away, and he's looking for a new place. And he lived there with her and her cat, Princess Donut. And actually, I think there's like a whole longer name, but I don't know what it is. So Princess Donut like runs out of the house and gets up in a tree. And while he's trying to get her out of a tree, the whole building like collapses. It's this really confusing thing. And like the cat knew, right? The cat had to know. So he is one of the few people that have survived and has found himself in this game that aliens are putting on, where it's a dungeon crawler situation. So pretty much you just like go around and fight and stuff. So it's interesting because the technology does involve AI, which like I have to separate my feelings for real world AI and something like this, because it's not the same. But it gives him the ability to like do like game menus and stuff in his mind, so he can like close out of it and do different things like that. And I think that aspect is really cool. My problem so far is that I just don't care about like going around and fighting things, and that's what is happening. I think it's just kind of boring. I think the other problem that I have is that I can't picture things when I read. I'm like aware that I'm like looking at my yarn or my book or whatever I am doing with reading or audiobooks. And I don't know if that is causing me to not care as much, because my issue with more just like violent plots is that I can't see anything. Like I don't picture anything. So I'm like, okay. Actually, even when I can see it, I think action movies are kind of boring anyway. I don't know. But I think that it's fine. There have been some moments in the humor that I've liked and disliked, which I did expect going in. I never really thought that this was going to be my favorite, perfect, all-time favorite book or series, but so many people love it that I did want to give it a go. And I feel like I'm feeling exactly how I thought that I would. So I'm not upset about it, but I was secretly hoping that I would just become fully obsessed with this, and that's not the case. I am sitting here in the waiting room. Yeah, my sister and I are trying to get tickets for Noah Kahan's tour this summer, and I'm a little bit scared about how this is going to go. But while I've been sitting here waiting, because I am scared that I am going to forget and not realize what time it is and miss the tickets, which I think my sister would actually murder me. I have been finishing up rewinding this ball of yarn, so I'm finally done, and I did one row yesterday and I can finally just like sit and actually crochet, but I'm very happy that I did this because I feel like it just I would have added so much time to be like fighting with it as I was doing it, and I think it would stop my progress and stop me from like actually continuing. So I have made it 306 pages into Dungeon Crawler Carl. Just got to chapter 36. So for this, there are a lot of moments that I'm really enjoying. I think the thing I'm enjoying most is actually the humor, which I thought was going to be the thing that I really disliked about this book. I kept putting it off. I was like, this is going to be like too man humor for me, and I'm not going to like it. And there definitely are things like the foot thing is just not my choice, but it's whatever. But there are a lot of like little moments that are making me laugh. The thing is that I just really don't care about any of these like battles that are going on, outside of the fact that I think it's really cool to see them using these items and how different players are getting different stats and abilities and how they use them and things like that. I think that that part is the most intriguing, but I don't care about the actual battle itself. Like when they're fighting the bosses, I don't care like at all. And it's not that I'm like, wow, I hate this, but I have zero like true feelings about it. That probably doesn't make any sense because it sounds like I care, but I don't know. I don't know. So I'm still feeling like kind of mid about this, like 3-star vibes. I just want to be obsessed, and I think the fact that I'm not is like just really upsetting. I do think that this whole world in general is really interesting because we are getting a little bit more of the televised aspect of it, and I'm very interested in that. So for these NPCs that are in this, it's interesting because they all have specific jobs and goals as well. So like everybody has something that they are working and I really like that inclusion of it. There's been some like TV show interviews, which I thought was fun. There's been some people helping them along the way that it's like, what are you doing this for? And I'm enjoying all of that. I just wanted to make this my new personality, but this is not the case. At this point, I'm not writing off continuing the series, but also I don't feel the need to either. So I hope that does change. This is gonna be so quick because my head hurts so bad. It has for quite a while now, and I'm struggling. But I did finish Dungeon Crawler Carl. I looked at Storygraph when I finished, and I'm just scrolling through everybody that's read this. 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 4.5 stars, 4 stars, 4 stars. I think I'm gonna give this one 3 stars, maybe 3.5. There were moments that I did like and concepts that I thought were really cool, but I just never felt like I was obsessed with anything. I do think I'm gonna read book 2. I think that will be my last one if I am not obsessed with it, but I do think I want to give it another go. So we're gonna read another book. I don't know how much I'm gonna read of it tonight, but oh, okay, we're gonna do another romance. And next up is going to be Good Spirits by B.K. Borson because of Jess from Peace Love Books. Love books, loves books, loves books. This is actually so perfect because B.K. Borson is a local author to me. So I wanted to get to this if I could before an event with her to see if I should get my copy signed. But my favorite romance book of last year, one of my all-time favorite romance books, is First Time Caller by B.K. Borson. So I do have high hopes. Also, the cover was just revealed for the second one, and it's very pretty. This is a Christmas book, which is interesting because so is Love Light Farms. I expect to enjoy this one, maybe not be obsessed with it, but I also think this is a good one to have while my head hurts, so I can just like lay in the dark and listen to the audiobook, and it's not going to be like a high brain power situation. Honestly, I probably am going to talk to you tomorrow because getting up here to film to pick another book felt like a very difficult task, and I just want to lay in the dark for the rest of the night. I am feeling so much better now. I just really struggled yesterday. That headache took me out for hours. So I tried to get tickets to see Noah Khan, didn't get them. My sister had no luck either. And then I went to the library. On the way back, I was like, I'm gonna throw up because like my head hurts so bad. So I was in bed for hours and hours and hours. So last night I did start reading Good Spirits, and I'm now 110 pages in. I just got to chapter 10. Also, we did get tickets to see Noah Khan today. We got them in the Live Nation pre-sale. So I will be going to see him this summer with my sister. It's her favorite artist, so I'm just the lucky person that gets to tag along and go to a concert. I do like his stuff, but I'm not like a super avid listener, even though I do really like his new single, The Great Divide. Also, my dishwasher is so loud, so if you hear that, ignore it. I have had such a range of feelings about B.K. Borson books. First Time Caller, 5 stars, absolute favorite, which I mentioned. Love Light Farms, I gave 4 stars. The second book in that series, I gave 2.5. So that was not great for me. That one was okay. I didn't feel anything towards it until I felt anger. So that's why it was 2.5. And this one, so far, I'm not feeling the chemistry with these characters. So this is following, I always forget everyone's name, Harriet. She owns an antique store that her aunt owned. So she works there and she has one manager, store employee, and she like puts all of her effort into this. We also know that she has a sister that she has some sort of strained relationship with, and she also doesn't get along with her parents. Her parents are lawyers, and nothing she ever did was good enough for their expectations, things like that. And it's kind of sad because we see her talking about her sister and like promising that they aren't going to end up how her mom and her mom's sister are, and they were estranged. So it's also some like discourse because she took over her mom's sister, her aunt's business. So there's just like a whole bunch of stuff with that. So she is in her house. We see her at the antique store. She goes home and she has this guy pop up out of nowhere, and he's like, I'm the ghost of Christmas past, and you are a bad person, and we're here to figure out why. And she's gonna go on this like typical Scrooge journey, and she's like, I don't believe you, let me talk to your manager, which is funny. So he actually goes and talks to his manager, which like I would probably just lie if I was him, but you know, I guess he's better than me. He is a ghost, and we learn a little bit about his past, but we don't know a whole lot about it yet. We do get both perspectives. So she ends up thinking this is a dream. You know, no one really expects to believe that the ghost of Christmas past is coming for you. So she is at her job. She's at the antique store. She's talking to her coworker, and then the coworker like leaves for a second, and this guy shows up with a coffee, and she's like, are you stalking me? You were in my house. And then he like proves to her that he has this magic and that like they have to go on this journey together. So they start to do that. They go and watch this first memory, and there's nothing that's really standing out to him. It's pretty obvious to him usually why people are put in this situation. Like they need to learn something, they need to improve, be nicer, things like that. And he's like, you're literally a child in this, and you didn't do anything wrong, so, I don't know. And she's, like, thinking about it, and she's like, well, maybe I'm here to help you move on. So there's, like, all this discussion about that. We see more of her memories, and they're all just kind of sad. They're her being lonely, so I'm assuming that it has to do with that, like, the reason that she is taken on this journey. But his name is Nolan, and he is someone that's been a ghost for quite a while. So this is just a very standard thing for him to start. Turns out this is not anything like his normal cases. He is also very into her. They have some interactions where it's like she thinks that she has like scandalous pajamas on, and she's trying to explain Nordstrom to him. So I am liking certain moments, but I just like don't feel anything towards the characters either. I don't know what it is about romance this year with me reading it that I'm just like not feeling the chemistry, not invested. Right now, we're not seeing like them interact as a couple, so I might like it more then, because right now it's just like this ghost doing this job and she's trying to help him. But they do have some cute moments together. They both clearly have some sort of attraction towards each other. They both like each other physically, and then like some other things, they're just like enjoying each other's company as well, but they don't want to say it either because it's like this weird dynamic between them. It's a very cozy feeling book. I don't specifically wish that I would have read this at Christmas time, but like, I don't know, maybe it would have been more. No, it wouldn't have. I'm not someone that's really impacted by seasonal reads, so I don't think that I would have been enjoying it more like if I read it at any specific time. But I do like the writing, so I'm not mad. I'm at 255 pages into Good Spirits, and I'm really sad that I'm just not feeling the chemistry between these characters. I feel like there are some really cute moments, but overall it really feels more about Harriet trying to kind of become who she is without letting everybody else dictate it, and her feelings about how people treat her because of how she has responded to things her whole life. And I'm absolutely not saying she deserves to be treated the way that she's treated, but at the same time, when you always are letting people like roll all over you, sadly they're going to continue to do that. So she is starting, with Nolan's help, to realize that like maybe she shouldn't be doing this because she thought she was happy doing it, and then she realized because he is having like actual interactions with her that maybe she deserves more. So I am liking that, and I'm enjoying learning a little bit more of his past, but he doesn't know it either, so there's just like little glimpses into that. I just don't feel truly invested in anything that is happening. I don't really care about them separately or together or the situation, because it feels a little silly. Why is somebody that her crime is that she lets people walk all over her going through this whole system? Like, shouldn't it be reserved for the people that actually suck? And I understand that there's stuff beyond that, but I'm just sad because I'm not feeling the chemistry towards these characters. Plot-wise, it is what I expected it to be. Everything that's happening, like, makes sense. I just don't, like, feel any sort of feeling towards any of it, and that's kind of sad. But outside of this being picked for booktuber favorites, I also saw a lot of people really not liking it, so this one is a very divisive book. I'm very curious to see how they are going to be able to continue their relationship, considering he is a ghost, and I do think that some people don't like that, so I hope that I fall on the side of enjoying that part. But also at this point, I don't care if they stay together or not, which kind of sucks. I finished Good Spirits. There were some elements of this that I liked. I liked the overall idea of everything, but honestly, my feelings towards this book come down to the fact that I didn't feel any chemistry between these characters. There were moments that I was like, that's cute, but they were like meant to be together, and I just did not feel that. I did really love watching how supportive he was of her, because her whole life she had been forced to act a certain way to make other people happy, to not really do what she wanted, and he helped her realize that that is not the best thing for her personally, even though it is hard to stand up for yourself and not let other people be the one that dictates every decision. But overall, this was just a decent read for me, so I am going to give it 3 stars. It is not my favorite, it's not my least favorite from B.K. Borison. I will continue to read more, but this one just didn't spark any like strong emotion in me, which I'm sad about, but that's really what I'm wanting from a romance. It's time to pick the last, I can look at you through this, the last book. I am desperate for a horror or thriller book. Oh, I just threw one on the ground. Let me get that one real quick, because what if it's the one? Actually, I don't know if I want to pick that one. It's not calling to me. One of these. This one. Oh, okay. This is another repeat of Dungeon Crawler Carl this time from Peyton from Book in Hand. So I'll have her tagged as well, but I mean, I already read it. Wait. Okay. This is exciting. This is one that is a bit longer, so I was hoping for a shorter one, but I'm really excited for it. We Are All Guilty Here by Karen Slaughter, and this is a pick from Megan from Meg with Books. So this will be the last pick for this round. Okay, some updates for you. I guess first of all, because this one is quicker, I have been continuing to work on my crochet project. This is still just the back panel, but it is getting longer. I will have to block this so that it is like completely even, but for me not crocheting for quite a while, I feel like this is pretty good. I'm about halfway to where I need to get it, so I think that'll take me another 2 or so days because my hands are getting tired, but I think it's been a really great activity to do while I am reading. I've been listening to the audiobook of We Are All Guilty Here because I think I've listened to the audiobook for all of Karen Slaughter's books. Well, the ones that I've read, I think I've read 4 now. Pretty Girls, The Good Daughter. Oh, it says in here what they are. False Witness that came out. Maybe this is the 4th one. So I'm 150 pages in, and there is going to be a time jump, so I figured this would be a great place to talk. I didn't realize there was going to be a time jump. I've seen people like briefly talk about this book, but it hasn't stuck in my mind. So I start off and there's no indication that it's gonna be a time jump. It is just right into chapter 1, and I have no idea what we're going to jump to. I'm so curious because I feel like we wrapped up a lot of things in this first chunk. I feel like the story was kind of cut and dry, just investigating the disappearance of these 2 girls. So in chapter 1, we are watching pretty much these 2 girls get kidnapped. They are in their teens. It is the night of the 4th of July and the whole town is coming together to go to fireworks. It is a very small town, so literally everybody is there, and we are watching Cheyenne and Madison, learning a little bit about them and kind of what they are up to, and then we witness them both being kidnapped. We are in Madison's perspective, and she is trying to get in contact with Cheyenne. They were supposed to meet up, and she is not answering her phone. She doesn't know where Cheyenne is. And then Madison tries to talk to someone named Emmy, and Emmy is a local sheriff and is a family friend. So Emmy and Madison's mom are best friends. And Emmy kind of blows her off because she has her own stuff going on. We're learning a little bit about their specific situation, going after older men, weed, things like that. And then we witness Madison being taken and Cheyenne is there. So then it jumps to Emmy's perspective. This is all in 3rd person, which I do personally prefer a 1st person story pretty much in all aspects. I just always feel like I am more invested in the story. I'm not pretending like I'm the character, but I just feel more of what they're feeling and it makes me care a little bit more. But I am very invested in this one. So when we switch to Emmy, she just has this gut feeling that something is terribly wrong, and she thinks it's this one thing, and then it turns out it's something else, which then leads to realizing that Madison and Cheyenne have been taken. There is a situation with cars like going somewhere they're not supposed to, and they end up finding blood. And then Emmy has to go talk to Hannah, Madison's mom, and say like, she tried to talk to me and I blew her off. And obviously Hannah is like very distraught by this information. She feels like Emmy could have prevented Madison from going missing. And then we're watching her just investigate things, going to the school, searching their houses. Emmy's dad is also a sheriff, so they have some interactions. I don't know what the synopsis actually says. Okay, pretty much what I told you. So they're going around looking for suspects, trying to get information from whoever might possibly have it. So that storyline kind of wraps up in the first 150 pages, and now we're jumping to 12 years later, and we are still following Emmy, and I truly have no idea what to expect moving forward, but the beginning of this, I do really love the way that Karen Slaughter writes. I think that especially for it being in third person, I find myself fairly invested in her stories. She always has darker topics in it. There's been a lot of talk of power dynamics and men specifically, how they are, not all men, but there are a lot that are grooming teenagers and just like horrific things, which is especially awful with all of the stuff that has come out, even more with the Epstein files, and how so many men had control over things for teenage girls, and it's just like disgusting, and it's just, oh, it's a lot. I think that Karen Slaughter's really great at writing emotion, and I think that's kind of what drives the story. I'm just starting all these clips like, let me show you something, but my crew neck for Realmathon came in, and I'm not usually into pink, but I love this color combo, so I thought it was really cute. So this year is kind of Dungeon Crawler Carl themed, so I'm glad that I got to read it in this video. Well, it's not really themed, it's just inspired by it, but we are competing in the Crucible and trying to be the one team to win. The team names are actually on here, which is great because I can never remember what they're called. Clerics, mages, paladins, and rogues. Rogues is my team, so I'd love for you to join me. Each team does have 2 bonus prompts. You don't have to read them, or you can. I am co-hosting my team with Jordan from Sorry Book Solid, who I mentioned about crochet stuff earlier, but our team prompts are to read a book stolen from a TBR from someone on another team, and then also to read a book with a mystery element. There's a pretty wide range, broad prompts that you can fit a lot of books into, so I will have that linked for you. I was listening to the audiobook while I was crocheting more in bed after I talked to you, so I just got to chapter 16. Also, I hate deckled edges. These ones, they're so hard to just like flip through the book because I don't know where chapter 16 is, so it's really actually annoying. So while I find that, because I probably will go back to reading the audiobook and the physical book at some point today, I am very much still enjoying this, but it's not an obsession for me. This is kind of how I feel about all of Karen Slaughter books. I just found it. It's 310 pages in. I find that she is so good at character dynamics and just the way that the world interacts with each other, and I think that that is all done really well and it's very compelling. Her books are just a little bit more slower and aren't as plot focused as I tend to love, but the thing is, most people could not get me to read a book this long and enjoy it and not sit here and complain that it's too long. I actually think in every book of hers that I've read, I've said like, I don't think it needs to be this long, but also I have no complaints with it being this long, and I feel the same about this. So we are following Emmy 12 years after everything from the first part that I told you about, and that's the only thing that's in the synopsis, so I'm scared to like tell you too much, but we are dealing with a lot of forms of grief. The way that things progressed from the starting timeline was not ideal for Emmy. So she's like really sad about things, but also she understands how these situations can cause people to feel. So there is that. She also is dealing a lot now with her parents being older and dealing with the emotions that come with that. There is talk about Alzheimer's in here. Her mother has that, and it's really sad to watch because it's something that a lot of people go through, and honestly it's just so terrifying to lose your mind in that way and to think about not recognizing anybody in your life, like your literal children and the person that you have spent years and years with, is just a lot. There's also been a lot of discussion that I'm really liking about how people can be different things to different people, and how to one person their actions and their words have been so horrible and like impacted them in such a negative way, and then they can realize that that was not great and that they are making progress to become better people, and they are really great people to other people. And the grief of like wishing that you had the good relationship with somebody, I think that that's been such an interesting dynamic in here, because it's true, like people can be horrific and you don't have to forgive them for how you were treated, but you can also recognize that like maybe they are different now. But I feel like that's so hard to be like, well, why couldn't you do that for me? Why was I the one that got this bad version of you? So I'm liking those discussions. So where we start off, the person that was convicted for the crimes in the first part of this has been released due to some sort of technicality. So they are having to go back through things and try to get this guy again, or decide if maybe they were wrong in the first place, which I feel like, well, I'm not somebody that does this. If you're somebody in charge of like delivering justice to these horrible people that are doing like really, really bad things, I don't know how you possibly deal with, is this the actual truth versus things just being skewed and convoluted for whatever reason. I don't know. So she feels very strongly that she wasn't the main person on the case before, but her dad was, and she was very involved. So there's just a lot of like feelings towards that. And then there's another missing girl that comes up in the 12 years later timeline that I'm in now. And it seems like there are some similarities, and she is really trying to grapple with the fact that this could be happening again. It could be the same person, it could be a different person, things could have been wrong, and then dealing with a lot of very awful family things that are going on as well. We are also introduced to a new character, Jude, who is an FBI agent, and seeing how all of that connects is interesting. But the plot itself is just, there's a missing person and we're looking into it as like the overall plot. And that isn't like the engaging thing. It's really these characters and the way that she's telling this story and weaving all these pieces together. I am going to give you my final crochet update, and that's going to be like 2 seconds long. I'm still working on this back panel of the cardigan, but now it's pretty long. I'm getting close to being done with this. So I will be continuing to give updates on this in my next video, on my next vlog. So that will be a new releases video. I just have a couple of new releases that I really want to get to for various reasons. But in that there will be horror, thriller, and romance and romantasy, so a wide range of things. We are all guilty here. I am torn on my rating for this. This is overall a slower paced book than I usually prefer. I'm not like screaming about this because it didn't make me like feel the strongest emotions, but before editing, the last 2 clips I filmed were 10 minutes long, and sometimes I only film for like 2 minutes, so I've just had so much to say. And I love the way that Karen Slaughter writes character dynamics. I think she's so good at it. I think her storytelling is incredible, and the fact that she can write these slower paced, character focused stories in a way that is engaging to me is just truly top tier. But at the same time, I wasn't like completely obsessed with any of the characters. So I think I'm gonna give it I want to give it 5 stars, but I think it's more of a 4.5. This is definitely my favorite book that I've read in this video. I'm trying to like compare this to other Karen Slaughter books, and I don't really know where it ranks in that, so that's not helpful either. So I think I am going to settle on 4.5 for this. So I have finished my first, I can't do this, 5 books. Pretend Storm of Secrets and Sorrow is in here. 4 booktuber favorites. There will be 1 to 2 more videos because I want to continue going through my basket. I did go through and remove 2 books that I decided that I didn't want to read that I originally had in the basket, and I do need to go through and finish adding books from a couple people's videos that were posted a bit later, and that will add a lot more horror and thriller books. I believe a lot of the people that I was waiting for are people that read a lot of horror and thrillers, so I'm excited to add those to this stack. Basket. The next booktuber favorites from me will probably be the end of March or beginning of April, and then I'll probably do another one in June. I like doing booktuber favorites this way, and I'll probably continue to do it in future years. It's just less stress on me and guarantees that I'm reading things that I really want to be reading, not things I feel like I have to read. I'm so glad I got to all of these, and even though I didn't have any 5 stars, they were all wins. If you made it to the end and want to leave me an emoji to say you're here, you can leave me a stack of books. In the description will be 2 playlists. One will be every booktuber's favorite video that I watched, and then the other one will be all of the ones that I picked books from to put in here, so you can see a little more of the curation of my basket. I'd also love to know your favorite book of 2025. All of the creators that I read a book from in this video will be tagged in the description as well, so make sure you check out their channels. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!